Meg Sechon here at Intersolar North America in San Francisco, California. Here with me today is John Jacob Boom-Wichers of REC Group. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Meg.
Please describe what REC Group does here.
All right, REC Group is a Norwegian company. We are the 8th largest module manufacturer in the world today. We are the first largest European manufacturer of modules today, and the difference between our company and many others is that we are a vertically integrated player, meaning that we manufacture everything from the silicon all the way to wafers, to cells, and to modules, and we also do systems.
Mm-hmm. What sectors do you see as the biggest growth market right now?
In the United States, for us, the biggest growth market segment is going to be the commercial segment. The residential segment is a good segment, but that is actually a base segment growing at a regular pace. It's not going to have tremendous growth.
Where do you see some up-and-coming regions for growth?
For REC, we are already doing quite well in the West Coast, but we want to expand much more aggressively on the East Coast, as well as in the central states of the United States. Our position in the United States is, let's say, we are quite young here. We have been in the United States for the last 3 years and have been focusing more on Europe and Asia Pacific. And so the fact that I was recruited here from Europe to actually run the business in the United States is specifically to actually expand much more aggressively here. So really expand our footprint. Our plans are to double our turnover next year and the year after that.
Where's your major market overseas?
Our major markets overseas are in Germany, and in the UK, and in Benelux, and in Italy. So we have, and of course we have a good presence also in Asia Pacific, India, Australia, and some other areas over there.
Now, with the expiration of many subsidies, how are you working to reduce overall cost?
Well, we already have a very aggressive cost position in the market. So in terms of costs are extremely important. And because of a vertical integration position and the fact that we also manufacture silicon at a much lower price than anybody else in the market, we can already be extremely competitive. We continue to work on reducing the balance of system. We are coming out with a new product which will radically lower the balance of system for large ground-mounted installations. That'll be released actually at SPI, so I can't tell you too much about it, it's still on embargo. And overall, what we also try to do is to educate the consumer on the fact that he shouldn't just look at the reduction of the price, but he should actually look at the levelized cost of electricity, meaning how much does my system actually produce. People, if they continue to push for lower prices, will get lower quality. That's not what they want. These modules need to go on for another 25 years, right? So the idea is create the product that is at a fair price, but that generates the most electricity possible. Now, REC has been rated, according to the Photon magazine, as being the #1 energy producer module in Europe for the last 2 years. So this clearly shows the additional revenue that somebody can generate and get by having an REC module over another one. And I think that's what people need to focus on. They need to focus on the revenues as opposed to the costs.
Now, what else differentiates you from other players in the industry?
Well, I think what really differentiates us from other players in the industry is that we are a solid company. We are 100% motivated to be only in PV. So as I mentioned to you earlier, we are vertically integrated, not vertically integrated for vertical integration's sake, as it was a couple of years ago when people needed component security, but in particular, we are vertically integrated in positions where we actually have huge cost advantages. For instance, we manufacture silicon at a cost way below anybody else in the market because of our fluidized bed reactor technology. So that is one thing. The second thing that's very important that differentiates us from other people is that we have an extremely solid balance sheet. So today we are the 4th largest company in the PV sector by revenue. Not many people know that. And we have probably the best balance sheet, our lowest debt-to-equity ratio compared to everybody else. We have a debt-to-equity ratio of 45%, which is extremely low compared to everybody else in the market. We are generally viewed as being a very solid partner, as being able to refinance, get additional investors in equity in the company when other people's can't. So overall, that differentiates us really from a lot of other players.
Now, with such an uncertain outlook right now in the industry and with an election coming up and the trade dispute, what's your plan for the next 1 to 2 years to navigate all of this?
You know, I think that personally, I'm not worried about an election coming up. I think that the future of PV is extremely clear. Today, PV can run in many markets in the States and many markets around the world on its own feet. And having been in Europe many years and seeing how the market works in Europe with all these feed-in tariffs, which are more or less artificial, and the United States is working with tax credits and with PPAs and with net metering, that is a really healthy, sustainable model. And I'm convinced that Americans are sufficiently ingenious that they're going to be able to find the right model that will actually work for the U.S. market. People invest in PV because they make money. People don't invest in PV because they want to save the world. To some extent they should, and we make PV modules with the lowest carbon footprint in the industry as well. But people do it because they can make money. It saves their energy bills, it reduces their overall costs, and that is what's important. So honestly, next 2 years, I'm not worried. The PV market will continue. There might be ups and downs, but the long term, it'll be there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here, and
You're
enjoy
very
the rest
welcome.
of the show.
Thank you for having us, Mike.